Now, the unit's history is very deep and spans through many generations. Let's take a look at this episode's Back in the Day.
Back in the day, around this part of the year, the soldiers of the Strike Brigade were non-stop. Like on the 20th of June, 1941, when members of the newly formed 502nd Parachute Infantry Battalion received their first issue of jumpsuits and jump boots, and a few days later, on the 1st of July 1941, at Fort Benning, Georgia, the 502nd was officially activated as an experimental unit formed to test the doctrine and tactics of the parachute assault. Then in July of 1942, the 50 Deuce was assigned to the 101st Airborne Division, and it's been rendezvousing with destiny ever since. Like on June 7th, 1944, the Bronze Star was awarded to Captain Cecil Simmons of the 502nd's Hotel Company for attacking and defeating a firmly entrenched enemy force in the vicinity of Houseville, France. And on June 8th of 1944, Lieutenant Jack F. Dulaney with the 50 Deuces India Company earned the Silver Star for leading his platoon against some tough enemies with some even tougher weapons. And for his actions on the 10th and 11th of June, 1944, First Lieutenant Ralph Gayhoff, the intel officer for 3rd Battalion of 502nd, earned the Silver Star for successfully gathering information as to the location and strength of Nazi forces, all the while being pinned down by enemy fire in the Nazi stronghold of Caratan, France. He and his patrol took the town the next day. The list of those who rose to the Caratan challenge is huge. Distinguished Service Crosses for Major John P. Stopka, Lieutenant Colonel Cole, First Sergeant Kenneth Ned Sprecher, Lieutenant Colonel Patrick F. Cassidy, and First Sergeant Hubert Odom. The Silver Star to First Lieutenant Ralph Payne, and the Bronze Star to First Sergeant William Odom. And then on June 12, 1944, Caratan fell to the American forces, primarily due to the hard work and sacrifice of the men from 502nd Parachute Infantry Regiment. Then on June 27, 1944, the 502nd and the 101st were relieved from their frontline positions south of Caratan. A couple of weeks later, on July 11, 1944, the 502nd returned to England from Normandy and received replacements and prepared for their next jump into combat. During this time back in the day, strike soldiers in Vietnam saw a lot of things going on. Like on June 19, 1968, Colonel Cushman accepted the Vietnam Gallantry Cross with Palm Unit citation from the President of the Republic of Vietnam at Hue. For his actions on June 19, 1969, the Distinguished Service Cross was awarded to Sergeant First Class William Lawrence, Jr., a platoon sergeant for Company C in 50 Deuce's 2nd Battalion. The platoon sergeant distinguished himself by securing fire support base Tomahawk. The base was overran by an entire North Vietnamese battalion, but Lawrence and his platoon recaptured the fallen outpost from the enemy. And in 1985, the 3rd of the 502nd deployed to the Sinai in Egypt as part of the multinational force and observers from July to December of that year. And around this time during Operation Iraqi Freedom, the Strike Brigade was in full swing. Like on June 12, 2003, when former Iraqi military caused civil unrest, protesting in front of the Mosul government building, where hundreds of the protesters gathered voicing their complaints. Now, former regime loyalists captured the opportunity to instigate violence in the city, turning the relatively peaceful protest into a violent demonstration involving the use of weapons. 502nd 2nd Battalion was first on the site and provided initial containment and overwatch of the riot. As the riot progressed, 2 50 Deuce remained steadfast and contained the riot until the late afternoon, thus preventing the unrest from becoming out of control. By the evening, the crowd dispersed, and an aggressive traffic control point and patrol plan restored order back to the city. And you gotta remember this one. On July 22, 2003, after receiving reports on the whereabouts of Hussein Uday Hussein, the number 2 and number 3 respectively on the CENTCOM Most Wanted list, the 502nd rapidly moved in to assist in the operation at the target house. After multiple assaults, Hussein Uday were finally killed in an upstairs room. The Strike Brigade's past is filled with heroes and bravery, and has accomplished many great things back in the day.
The 2nd Brigade Combat Team is very proud of its heritage, and not for nothing, plans to carry on the great lineage right here in Afghanistan. Well, as you can plainly see, the Strike Brigade is doing its part in Operation Enduring Freedom, and plans to continue to do so throughout its deployment. Much respects to the units for letting us tell their stories right here from Fob Wilson. Thanks for checking us out, and thanks for all that you do. And remember, we are Strike Soldiers. I'm Specialist Joe Padula with the 2nd Brigade Public Affairs Office, and I'll talk to you later. Absolutely.